In a single heartbeat, the world can shift. 30 seconds. That's all it takes. 30 seconds of complete focus, of letting go of every distraction, and suddenly the unseen begins to move. Energy shifts. Doors you didn't even know existed start to open. Miracles, quiet and powerful, begin to appear. Most people rush through life, their attention scattered, unaware that even the briefest pause can align them with something far greater than themselves. But in Shaolin teachings, every breath, every moment carries infinite potential. One mindful second can ripple into a lifetime of change. One still moment can awaken clarity you thought was lost. Today, I will guide you through the hidden power of giving 30 seconds, just 30, to fully align your body, mind, and spirit. You will learn how this small act creates a space where divine intervention is not just possible, but inevitable. You will discover how ancient Shaolin masters trained their minds to recognize opportunities that others miss, how a tiny shift in awareness can transform obstacles into blessings, and why the universe responds when you meet it with focused presence. By the end of this video, you will see that miracles are not distant events reserved for the extraordinary. They are responses to your deepest attentiveness, waiting quietly within the smallest moments. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire, a place where ancient wisdom meets practical mastery. Here, we explore the hidden forces that guide life and teach you how to harness them with discipline and awareness. Subscribe now and stay with me, because the next 30 seconds could change everything. Silence is not empty, it is alive. In the quiet, the world slows, and the hum of thought that constantly pulls at you begins to fade. Only then does the faintest whisper of guidance emerge, a voice so subtle that it slips past the noise of the mind. In those moments, God speaks, not in thunder, but in the stillness that opens your awareness. Shaolin masters understood this. Long before the modern world sought answers in speed and distraction, they would sit for hours, motionless, observing the rise and fall of their breath. At first the mind rebels, pulling toward memories, plans, or fears, but gradually, as the waves of thought calm, clarity grows. You begin to notice the patterns that were always there, the hidden doorways in life, the small signals that lead to great change. This is the gateway to miracles. The ability to perceive beyond what is obvious, to hear what has always been speaking. Stillness is not passive. It is an active form of listening, a disciplined surrender that sharpens perception. When the mind stops chasing, the heart awakens. Energy that was scattered gathers, aligning the body, soul, and purpose. In that alignment, doors unseen swing open. Solutions arise where none seemed possible. Timing, always mysterious, falls into place. The secret is simple yet profound. Do not fear emptiness. Embrace it, sit quietly. Let the mind release its demands. Let the body soften its tension. Let the spirit expand into the space created by absence of noise. The miracle is not outside. It begins inside. And when you cultivate this stillness daily, you train yourself to hear the subtle currents of guidance, to recognize the invisible hand that has always been leading you, quietly and faithfully, toward what you were meant to receive. Faith is not measured by what is seen, but by what is held quietly in the heart. There are moments when life seems stagnant, when efforts appear fruitless, and yet the universe is working in ways invisible to the eyes. To trust in divine timing is to move with patience, to honor the unseen currents that guide all things. It is a subtle strength, cultivated not in haste, but in stillness and observation. Shaolin philosophy teaches that forcing outcomes is a path away from harmony. A river does not hurry to reach the sea. It flows with patience, carving valleys and nourishing life along its journey. So too must the mind learn to flow. Discipline is not merely in action but in restraint. The discipline to allow life to unfold, to observe without interference, to hold faith when answers are delayed. The ancient masters understood that true power lies in aligning with the natural rhythm of the world. When one resists, tension grows, clarity fades, and opportunities slip by unnoticed. But when the mind surrenders to the flow, action becomes effortless, insight arises naturally, and even obstacles reveal hidden lessons. Faith beyond understanding is not blind hope. It is a quiet mastery of self, a recognition that timing is orchestrated by forces greater than ambition or desire. This kind of faith transforms ordinary waiting into a practice of awareness. Every challenge becomes a teacher, every delay a lesson in patience, every moment of uncertainty a chance to strengthen inner calm. The wise learn to act only when aligned with the rhythm of life, to cultivate readiness rather than impatience. In this space, miracles do not demand proof. They emerge naturally, as life responds to those who have learned the discipline of trust, the serenity of acceptance, and the strength of faith that moves quietly, yet powerfully, through time. Greatness is rarely born in a single act. It grows quietly, built from countless small decisions repeated with intention. 30 seconds of focused breath, a brief moment of mindful presence, a single act done with care. These fragments, seemingly insignificant on their own, gather strength over time. They are the seeds of transformation planted in silence, nurtured by discipline, and blossoming into mastery. In Shaolin training, students spend years perfecting the smallest movements. Each strike, each stance, each shift of weight is practiced again and again, often for hours, until the body and mind move as one. At first, the repetition feels tedious, even trivial, but over time, it becomes effortless. The discipline of small, deliberate action shapes character, sharpens perception, and awakens latent power. Mastery is not an event. It is the accumulation of micro-moments executed with awareness. The same principle applies beyond the dojo. Life responds to consistent mindful effort. When one gives 30 seconds fully to stillness, to focus, to intention, it is more than a brief pause, it is a declaration of presence. Each small act strengthens attention, trains patience, and aligns the mind with the currents of possibility. Over days and weeks, these tiny practices compound, creating subtle shifts that eventually manifest as breakthroughs. This is micromastery, the art of honoring the small, knowing that greatness is woven from many modest threads. It is the discipline to act not for immediate reward, but for the gradual shaping of self. It is the awareness that each second carries potential beyond its fleeting appearance. In this way, life becomes a canvas, and each mindful action a brushstroke. Slowly, steadily, the masterpiece emerges, not by force, but through the quiet accumulation of disciplined presence, until transformation unfolds naturally, as inevitable as dawn following night. Breath is more than air. It is the silent current that connects body, mind, and spirit. In every inhale, life enters. In every exhale, tension, distraction, and doubt leave. The ancients understood that the rhythm of breath mirrors the rhythm of the universe. When the mind is restless, the body scattered. Conscious breathing becomes a bridge between heaven and earth, a channel through which energy flows and clarity arises. Shaolin masters devoted as much attention to breathing as to movement. Each inhale draws in focus, strength, and presence. Each exhale releases what is unnecessary, creating space for insight and alignment. In this simple rhythm lies profound mastery, the ability to center oneself, even amidst chaos, and to open receptivity to forces beyond the visible. Breath becomes a guide, a teacher, a connection to the unseen currents that move the world. A simple practice can reveal this truth. Sit comfortably, spine straight, shoulders relaxed. Close the eyes, inhale deeply through the nose, counting slowly to 4. Hold the breath gently for a moment, sensing the fullness of life within. Exhale slowly through the mouth, counting to 6, letting go of tension with each release. Repeat this cycle for a few minutes, allowing attention to remain solely on the movement of air, the rising and falling of the chest, the subtle energy that stirs in the body. Even 30 seconds of this practice can shift perception. Thoughts settle, the heart slows, and the mind opens to guidance that was always present, yet previously unnoticed. Over time, conscious breathing becomes a tool not just for calm, but for connection, an ancient bridge through which divine energy flows, a reminder that mastery begins with the simplest, most natural act, honoring the breath that carries life itself. In the quiet moments, a voice emerges that no words can capture. It is subtle, soft, and often overlooked. Yet it carries the guidance of the unseen. The world surrounds us with noise, thoughts racing, desires pressing, endless signals demanding attention. In this chaos, listening becomes an art. To hear the divine within, one must first step into stillness, allowing the mind to rest, even briefly, from its endless commentary. Shaolin masters practiced this in every form, from meditation to movement. They observed without judgment, moved without haste, and listened to the body, the breath, and the space around them. True strength, they discovered, does not come from force or constant striving. It grows quietly, like roots deepening beneath the soil, nourished by patience and observation. The answers to life's questions, the guidance we seek, are often hidden in these silent depths, waiting for the mind to stop interfering. Listening is not passive. It requires discipline, a gentle but firm control over the urge to react, to overthink, to chase signs. It demands trust that insight arises naturally when the mind is calm and receptive. Each pause, each moment of attention turned inward, strengthens awareness. The smallest details become clear, a subtle shift in energy, a fleeting thought that carries wisdom, a quiet nudge toward the path one is meant to follow. In this way, silence becomes a teacher. It teaches patience, humility, and attentiveness. It reveals the unseen patterns that guide life, the currents that flow beneath the surface of daily activity. By cultivating the practice of listening, truly listening, one aligns with a deeper rhythm, a flow where action and understanding arise effortlessly. The divine does not shout, it speaks in whispers, and those who have learned the discipline of quiet observation learn to hear its profound, transformative language. True power is not found in holding on tightly, but in the ability to release. The mind wants certainty, the heart craves control, yet life flows in ways beyond understanding. To surrender outcomes is not to abandon effort or discipline. It is to recognize that the currents of existence move according to forces greater than desire or calculation. In this surrender lies a quiet strength, a deep trust that every moment unfolds as it must. Shaolin philosophy teaches that control is an illusion. A warrior does not force victory. The master does not push the river. Instead, they align with the natural order, training the body, mind, and spirit while remaining unattached to results. Discipline becomes a vessel, not a chain, allowing one to act fully without grasping. Each breath, each movement, each mindful choice is offered without clinging, leaving space for guidance, insight, and opportunity to arise. Letting go requires courage. It is not passive resignation, but an active act of faith. By releasing attachment to outcomes, the mind clears of anxiety, the heart softens, and energy flows freely. Obstacles that once seemed immovable are met with clarity. Paths previously hidden appear. The very act of surrender strengthens resolve, deepens awareness, and cultivates a form of mastery far more enduring than control alone could achieve. This balance between effort and release, discipline and trust, is at the core of personal mastery. To act without grasping, to strive without forcing, to prepare fully while leaving the result in higher hands. This is where true freedom and power reside. In learning to release control, one discovers that surrender is not weakness, but the strongest expression of inner alignment, a harmony between the will, the world, and the divine forces that guide it all. When the body moves with ease, the mind thinks with clarity, and the spirit rests in calm, something remarkable begins to happen. Life aligns in subtle ways, and moments that once seemed impossible unfold naturally. Miracles are not random. They emerge when our internal world reflects harmony, when energy flows without obstruction, and when intention, thought, and action move together as one. Shaolin wisdom speaks of this alignment constantly. A master's stance is steady yet fluid. Each movement is precise yet effortless. The mind remains alert yet free from distraction. The spirit stays grounded yet open to higher guidance. Balance is cultivated through disciplined practice, through repetitive attention to small details, and through deep awareness of how body, mind, and spirit interact. The outer world responds when the inner world reaches coherence, because readiness is a state, not a moment. This alignment does not require grand gestures. It begins in simple acts, breathing with attention, sitting with stillness, moving with purpose. When each part of the self is present and intentional, even a single thought can carry clarity, and even a small action can create far-reaching impact. The harmony of the inner self becomes a magnet for opportunity, insight, and guidance that were always present but unnoticed. To cultivate this state is to cultivate receptivity. It is to prepare quietly and consistently for the moments when life will present something extraordinary. The body, disciplined and strong. The mind, focused and calm. The spirit, open and trusting. Together, they form a vessel capable of holding blessings and miracles. In this unity, the impossible feels natural, and the unseen currents of life flow into the tangible with ease. True readiness is not forceful. It is the effortless expression of internal balance, a timeless principle taught by Shaolin masters and echoed in the stillness of those who wait patiently, prepared to receive. Even the smallest act, offered with true attention, carries power far beyond its immediate moment. A single breath taken in stillness, a few seconds devoted to mindful prayer, a quiet act of intention. These gestures, though brief, send ripples outward, touching corners of life we cannot yet see. Faith, when sincere and concentrated, is a force that shapes not only the self, but the currents of experience that surround it. Shaolin masters understood this principle deeply. Every movement, every ritual, every repetition of practice was performed with full awareness, knowing that mastery is forged in accumulation rather than in grand gestures. A single, disciplined step repeated over years transformed the body and mind alike. The same principle applies to devotion. Small moments offered consistently and with purity influence the rhythm of life itself. What begins as an internal act of alignment eventually manifests in external harmony, clarity, and opportunity. This is the ripple effect. One brief pause of genuine presence can shift energy, recalibrate perception, and awaken intuition. It may alter decisions, inspire patience, or reveal solutions previously unseen. Though invisible at first, these effects compound, much like repeated drops of water carving valleys in stone. Over time, devotion practiced in micro moments cultivates resilience, clarity, and a subtle magnetism that draws circumstances into alignment with intention. To live with this awareness is to understand that nothing is too small to matter. Every act of focus, every breath of faith, every instant devoted to alignment contributes to a greater flow. By honoring these micro moments, one becomes a conduit for transformation, internally and externally. The teachings of Shaolin remind us that greatness is not always loud or immediate. It emerges quietly, patiently, and inevitably through the deliberate, mindful cultivation of small, powerful actions repeated over time. True offering is not measured by time or action, but by the fullness of attention we bring to the present. To give 30 seconds completely, to pause, to focus, to align, is to offer more than a moment. It is to offer presence, undivided and sincere, a gift that carries far more weight than any outward gesture. In this simple act, the mind quiets, the heart softens, and the spirit opens, creating space for forces unseen to move freely. Shaolin wisdom teaches that presence is mastery in its purest form. A master's body may move, yet the mind is entirely in the moment. Each breath, each step, each thought is aligned. This same principle applies to devotion. Miracles are not obligations fulfilled by the divine in response to demand. They are natural expressions that arise when inner alignment is complete. By being fully present, one becomes receptive, and life responds in ways that are subtle, profound, and transformative. The practice of presence transforms the ordinary into extraordinary. 30 seconds of focused stillness can clarify a decision, reveal guidance, or shift the energy of a situation in ways that are invisible but unmistakable. It is not the external world that changes first. It is the internal state that shifts. Alignment, attentiveness, and mindful intention act as magnets for the opportunities, insights, and blessings that follow. To offer presence is to surrender distraction and self-interest, replacing them with full attention and openness. It is a demonstration of trust, discipline, and awareness. In these moments, even brief, the internal and external merge, and life unfolds in harmony. The true miracle is the transformation within, the awakening of sensitivity, clarity, and readiness that allows one to receive fully. In giving full presence, the smallest gesture becomes profound, and the simplest offering carries the power to change everything. Transformation begins in the smallest intervals of attention. 30 seconds of stillness, a brief pause for prayer, a single mindful breath. These moments may seem fleeting, yet their impact compounds over time. Like drops of water shaping stone, repeated micro-moments gradually reshape the mind, body, and spirit, carving pathways for clarity, insight, and guidance that were once hidden. Shaolin masters practiced this principle throughout their lives. Each day, no matter how brief, was filled with rituals of awareness, breath exercises, posture alignment, silent observation, performed consistently. These small disciplined actions, repeated with mindfulness, created a foundation of inner stability and receptivity. Over time, what seemed insignificant became the basis for extraordinary mastery, allowing them to respond with precision, presence, and calm in every situation. Daily micro-moments work in the same way for anyone seeking alignment and guidance. By dedicating 30 seconds multiple times a day to conscious presence, the mind learns to pause, the heart learns to trust, and the spirit learns to notice the subtle currents that guide life. These are not dramatic practices. They are quiet, deliberate gestures that train the self to become receptive to divine timing. The beauty of these moments lies in their accessibility. No special tools or circumstances are required. Each breath, each still pause, each act of mindful devotion is available to anyone at any time. Over weeks and months, the cumulative effect becomes profound. Thoughts become clearer, decisions more grounded, and intuition more reliable. Life begins to respond to a consciousness that has been gently, patiently trained to notice, to listen, and to align. In embracing daily micro-moments, the ordinary becomes sacred. 30 seconds is enough to shift energy, redirect focus, and open the door to guidance that is always present. Discipline, mindfulness, and patience converge in these brief acts, gradually transforming not just moments, but the very nature of perception and the way one experiences the world. Transformation does not arrive suddenly. It unfolds quietly, in the small moments where attention meets intention. Every pause, every mindful breath, every brief act of devotion shapes the mind, heart, and spirit. By embracing the principles of Shaolin, discipline, stillness, breath, and inner alignment, combined with faith and conscious presence, anyone can cultivate a readiness that allows miracles to appear naturally in life. Remember, the divine moves not only in grand gestures, but in the tiny intentional moments we offer. Each moment of stillness, each act of focus becomes a seed that grows slowly yet powerfully into clarity, insight, and transformation. Your practice does not need to be long or elaborate. Even 30 seconds of presence each day can shift energy, open awareness, and align you with the currents of life that have always been guiding you. Take these lessons into your daily life. Pause. Breathe. Be fully present, trust in the process, and allow your small, consistent efforts to accumulate into profound change. The path to mastery and inner harmony is built step by step, moment by moment, and the miracles you seek often begin quietly within you. Thank you for joining this journey of presence and alignment. If this message resonates, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Shaolin Soulfire, where ancient wisdom meets practical mastery. May your days be filled with calm, clarity, and the subtle miracles that arise when you give your full attention to the present.